It's the balanced budget that's facing criticism, by the way, from both sides of the aisle. Here now for an exclusive CNBC interview is Kentucky Republican Senator Rand Paul. He's one of the co-sponsors of the GOP's cut, cap, and balance proposal. Senator Paul, welcome back to the show. First of all, your take, cut, cap, and balance, it will pass the House. Is there any hope it will go through the Senate? Any hope at all?
Well, you know, what I'm seeing is a huge amount of resolve. I just came from a big rally with grassroots groups, congressmen, senators. They're excited about this, that we can actually tell the American people what we're for and what would fix the country, really. I don't think there's much hope to fix our country unless we do something to balance our budget.
Senator, let me ask you, if the cut, cap, and balance is replaced or superseded politically by Senator Coburn's new Gang of Six proposal, is that to your liking? Would you accept the Gang of Six proposal? Senator Paul, I don't know, have we lost him?
Yeah, I think we've got you back now. Sorry, we lost the audio for a minute.
I beg your pardon, Senator. Let me just quickly repeat. If cut, cap, and balance is replaced politically by the Gang of Six, would the Gang of Six plan, we just had Senator Coburn on, would that be to your liking? Could you support the Gang of Six plan?
Well, the first problem is there is no Gang of Six legislation. There's a rough outline that I don't think could possibly be a bill for a month, and they don't even say that they are going to have legislation. So it's really not even on the table. The only thing on the table is the cut, cap, and balance. The other problem I have with the Gang of Six is it doesn't balance. It never balances, and I think the people who elected us want us to balance the budget. I figure it's a huge compromise for me to wait 5 to 10 years to balance the budget, and I can't vote for any plan that never balances the budget.
When does cut, cap, and balance balance? That doesn't come, I thought, until the 2030s.
Well, no, cut, cap, and balance will require that the budget be balanced within 5 years of passage of the amendment. And we estimate it might take a year or two to go through the states. So it'd be about a 7-year plan. And this is similar to Pat Toomey had a budget that balanced in 7 or 8 years. I have one that balances in 5 years. The Republican Study Committee had one 7 to 8 years. So it does have at least a finite time that says to the American people, we will be working steadily on this road. But it also requires it by the Constitution, which I think is the only way we'll ever reform things in Washington.
Senator, you know, you were a Tea Party leader. You're a fiscal conservative, obviously. I just want to ask you about the Tea Party piece. The main idea was to cut spending, you know, stop the growth of government, help grow the economy. You've been in office now, I don't know, 2 years or so. What's your take on this? How are you succeeding? Is the Tea Party message influencing policy in Washington?
Absolutely. I think we're winning the debate every day in the public arena. We're not yet winning the battle in the legislative arena, but we're winning the public debate every day. Look at this cut, cap, and balance. A couple of us, it started with 2 or 3 of us in the Senate about a month ago. Everybody was opposed to it on both sides of the aisle. Now we're going to have a vote and everybody's for it, at least on our side of the aisle. So we think we've come a long way and that we are influencing the debate. And really, we think that time is short. We're worried about, you know, people say, what happens if you default? We say, what happens if you drive a country into bankruptcy? And we think that that's around the corner. You know, even the ratings agencies are now saying just raising the debt ceiling doesn't stave off a downgrade.
Right.
You could get a downgrade if we don't look like we're serious about tackling our nation's finances.
Well, I think that's a very important point. I just want to ask you right now, knowing what you know, can you forecast, will we have a debt ceiling increase or will we have a default on our interest expense on the debt?
You know, I'm really optimistic that we're going to force a showdown in this. And I think really what we need is a statesman. If the president were a true statesman, tonight he would say he's going to take default off the table and that he will always pay the interest as he should on the debt. There's plenty of money. We bring in $200 billion a month and our interest payments usually about $20 billion. Plenty of money. They're playing a game of chicken, and he needs to take the country's future and say, I'm not going to play a game with this. I will not default. He should do the same with the senior citizens. We have plenty of money for the Social Security. We bring in $200 billion a month. Social Security somewhere between $50 and $70 billion a month.
Well, but the reality is those numbers. I mean, I agree with you on those specific items, but you'd also have to cut about 44% of the budget to make ends meet. I mean, those are what the numbers look like. It's a very dicey proposition, is it not?
Well, what you would have to do is you would have to balance your budget immediately until we passed a plan. And, I'm pretty much a moderate, so I'm willing to not balance it immediately, but I would force them to balance it immediately for a couple of months until we had a plan in place, or as soon as they're ready to accept a plan. If the president tomorrow comes to his senses and says, you know what, we need to balance it in 7 years, and here's the plan, and I'll stick by it. But this is a president that's going to add more debt than all of the other presidents combined.
Right.
This is a president that's going to add $11 trillion to the debt. He's out of touch, and I think he needs to admit it.
All right, we'll leave it there, Senator Rand.